You see, the T-Rex never had any park schedules or plans. It's the epitome of chaos theory, really.
I never understood any of that chaos theory stuff.
Alright, well, for shorthand, it's the butterfly effect. If a butterfly flaps its wings in Peking, then, you get a weather change in Central Park.
I'm sorry, that's way over my head. I never understood.
Guys! Dinosaurs!
Dinosaurs! Hey everyone, I'm John.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Jonathan.
And we're here to review the 2015 action-adventure movie Jurassic World.
Yeah.
So in this movie, they decided to make another park with dinosaurs in it because that's a good idea,
Yeah.
as time has shown us.
Even though that people died in the previous...
No, but this time it'll be different, right?
Yeah.
Nothing
Well,
will go wrong.
Why not?
Nothing.
And then they genetically engineer a new, crazy big dinosaur,
Yeah.
but it gets loose and starts killing people, and they have to hire cool guy badass Chris Pratt to help stop it.
Yeah.
So guys, what are your expectations going into this movie?
Alright, well, I having seen the first one just a couple days before going to see this one, watching the first one, I felt it was really I want to say mystical, kind of. It gave me a sense of whimsy almost, and that's what I was expecting going into Jurassic Park, World, and I thought that's what it gave me. Jonathan?
I've always been a really big fan of Jurassic Park. Actually, those are some of the first movies that really kind of got me into loving. We're just sitting down and watching a movie, and
Yeah.
the tension was there. The visuals were fantastic for the time. And I just wanted something that would at least just bring back some of that fun. It didn't necessarily have to break new ground, but just kind of
Bring the same feeling.
bring that feeling of watching Jurassic Park for the first time. Just something like that. I wanted it, and I felt like I got that from this.
Yeah,
John?
I had really high hopes going into this. I'm a huge fan of the first Jurassic Park movie, one of my favorite movies ever. But I was, really hoping they wouldn't tarnish the reputation, so to speak. I was hoping they wouldn't just go for a cheesy Hollywood action movie and, mess it all up and just add another bad installment.
Yeah, capitalize on, the old properties coming back, like Mad Max and Terminator and all that.
Now, one thing I can really say that did not happen. This movie is faithful to the original, and it keeps the spirit of it very well.
Yeah, even so, where they're going to, reference things that happened in the first movie. Like, since this is 20 years after the first Jurassic Park, they named the main building the Hammond Center after John Hammond. So I thought it was really cool that they can bring those things back for the original fans of Jurassic Park.
It's definitely very respectful to the original.
Right.
Definitely.
Also, the action scenes in this movie were very well executed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
They were very interesting. I didn't feel like it wasn't very repetitive in terms of how they played out. Each was very different.
It wasn't the same old action scenes you see in every movie these
Right.
days.
Yeah. I mean, definitely just the idea of bringing dinosaurs into the action. Really, you have to think about how are these dinosaurs going to work in the scene, and they worked out tremendously, actually.
Yeah, I love the action in this movie. It's exhilarating, really. I mean, they come up with very creative ways to create situations, and it's really super cool.
Especially the end. The end just really throws you something where you're just clapping and the entire audience is cheering.
yeah.
It's really great. And of course you can't have these great action scenes without really good CG dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And I thought most of the special effects in this movie were great.
Yeah, and you are the self-proclaimed nitpick for CGI.
And I'd say that 99% of it was perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, every now and then I was like, okay, you might have been able to clean that up a little bit, but it's not a big deal. It still meets to 2015 standards.
Yeah, nothing detracts from the experience. It all just looks, great.
The only thing that I would have recommended the filmmakers do was add more practical effects into the movie, like what the original films did.
Yeah.
And the reason why I want to add practical effects is they kind of add tangibility, like it's actually real and you're not just watching computers. Yeah, computer things fight.
Yeah.
I think practical effects almost always look better than CGI.
Yeah.
Almost every time.
The guy in the monster suit will always look better than the CGI monster.
Exactly. We were watching Alien the other day, and this was 100% relevant. Some of the effects still look fantastic.
All the practical effects hold
it's
up
like 40
completely.
years later.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I remember, a lot of the advertising for Jurassic World was saying that we're going to use a lot more practical effects than usual, but actually watching it, you can't really tell that they are using practical effects. Really, only one scene, personally, I could tell that they were, this was a practical effect, and they made sure the audience know this was a practical effect, because they're telling the actors, all right, really feel the dinosaur, really touch the dinosaur.
Really
you have to
rub 'em
tell
up.
the audience.
Maybe by practical effects they meant set pieces. Like this movie wasn't done behind a green screen for the most part. Most of it was done completely outside. Actually, they shot most of the exterior shots in Hawaii.
Yeah, like the original Jurassic
And
Park.
I thought the set pieces were excellent.
Yeah, they
Really transported me to Jurassic World.
Yeah, it made Jurassic World a real place.
Now, acting was an issue this time around.
Yeah.
I thought that all the acting was, across the board, was really good, but of course
Yeah.
the highlights were Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah. And even so, the two not so child characters, but just the younger characters, were actually did a pretty decent
No,
job.
they weren't bad.
No.
They didn't make me facepalm, so that's a
No.
good thing.
Yeah, Chris Pratt does a great job in this movie. He totally plays the just awesome, cool guy, rugged, and it's awesome.
Right. So now, even though I think as a consensus we love Jurassic World, there were a few drawbacks to it.
A couple.
I think the biggest one was that the story is kind of convoluted in the sense it has a lot of different plot lines that don't necessarily go everywhere by the end of the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Even so, even when they start them, they usually don't have the best outcome at the end, meaning that they just kind of fizzle out and don't leave
Yeah.
you with the kind of like ending that you wanted for that.
I mean,
Yeah, there's some personal stuff in the movie in terms of the characters about how their lives are, just backstories that are brought up but are never addressed again, and you're like, oh, that would have been interesting to develop. I could see where that could have gone.
yeah,
but
I really like the story this
potential
movie
is used.
took overall, but there were just a few little things in there that they brought up, and it seemed pointless and just sort of never amounted to anything.
Right.
It just sort of served to make the
I
movie
do
more
agree.
cluttered.
Yeah.
Now, the only other thing is, even though the special effects in this movie, in terms of computer-generated effects, were absolutely fantastic for the most part, they relied a lot more on it than I think they should have.
Yeah, like we were saying earlier, there were a lot of times where practical effects could have been used, and more so should have been used, because they were, at least from my understanding, that shouldn't have been that hard to do with practical effects.
Right.
Yeah, there are a few scenes where you see they definitely could have made that something more tangible.
Yeah, instead of just CGing it.
Alright, guys, but at the end of the day, what is your score for Jurassic World?
Alright, John?
Alright guys, I love Jurassic World. It surpassed my expectations big time. It had me on the edge of my seat. The visuals were great, the action was great, all the acting is great. And except for those few flaws in the story and maybe some parts where they could have used less CGI, I had a great time with this movie. So I'm going to give it 4.3 out of 5 stars.
Wow,
Yeah.
okay.
John, I'm right there with you. I thought the acting was great. The action had me also on the edge of my seat. This movie captured me really. The action was just, I think, the best part of the movie. That's just me.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going to give Jurassic World a 4.1 out of 5 stars.
I really had a great time with Jurassic World. The special effects were great, the action was great, the Jurassic Park feel was there, and of course all the acting was good, so I can't complain. However, I didn't like how they completely relied on the CG.
Yeah.
And some of the plot lines that weren't explored just kind of left me wanting a little bit more.
It deleted scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, I had a really good time, and I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, that's good.
Alright guys, so Jurassic World, have you seen it? Let us know what you think about it in the comments below. Also make sure to subscribe to our channel and follow us on Twitter at StubMasters, where you can see us tweet about movies and our content and stuff.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Here.
Alright, so for StubMasters Reviews, I'm John.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Jonathan.
Have a great day.